microphone is on the right setting. Yep, looks like it is. This package that I use has a terrible tendency to actually flipping back to defaults, which isn't much good to me because the defaults aren't very good for you, at least for the listener. Anyway, so thanks very much. A little bit earlier than I anticipated. I did actually plan on a longer video this morning, but I realised I've double booked with my hairdressing appointment, and if you could see my hair at the moment, you know that I shouldn't miss my hairdressing appointment. And also thank you to everyone for the lovely messages last Saturday when I didn't go live. As most of you would know from here, that my dad is quite unwell, and even though he's not particularly worse, it's a slow degeneration, but just found last week really stressful, really draining emotionally. And when I sat down to try and work out what to create on Saturday morning, I didn't really have a creative bone in my body. I was just rehashing old designs, which wasn't fair on you guys to have to watch that, and I just wasn't feeling the love. So anyway, so thank you very much for all your wonderful comments, and it's so nice to have my wonderful crafty family supporting me. But anyway, it's lovely to see a few jumping on. Donna, good morning, Donna. You've caught me live today. That's wonderful. And Susan and Joyanne, thanks for joining me. Pop on and tell me where you're listening from. It's so great to actually know that I've got people all over the place watching. Just had a bit of I don't know whether my computer's just died on me, but I think I'll just have to open the door to let the internet waves through, but I just don't know whether something just stalled. I'm not quite sure. Anyway, let's see. We'll plough on and we'll see what happens. So if anyone notices anything glitchy this morning, please let me know. Anyway, so this is the card we're going to do. I have actually done one of these. It's what we call a triangle easel fold card. I just adore this one. As soon as I saw this big flower here, I thought that's got to be a wedding card. That was just a wedding card waiting to happen, honestly. So this is the original that I've made. It's called a triangle card because obviously the easel part itself is that sort of right-angled triangle there, and you can do something quite lovely with the little foot there, which I think it's just really, really nice. So anyway, the one I'm doing with you today is slightly different. I might be a little bit picky, but the paper, the background to this designer series paper was a little bit white to put against the cream, and I don't know if you're picking that up on the phone, on the camera, but it's a wee bit white for the cream background. And when I had it against white, I showed it to a friend of mine yesterday. If I tried to do the whole thing with white background, it's too cream for the white background. So it's a sort of in-between colour. So I thought, to save that hurting my eyes again, I will do one slightly different, but it'll still be a triangle and I'll still use the same designer series paper and everything, but it's going to merge in a little bit nicer than this one does, although I love this one, don't get me wrong. Okay, so let's get started. I've actually got to cut the cardstock. I thought with this one it'd be handy for you guys to watch me actually cutting the cardstock. So I have my trusty trimmer here, and I'm starting off with smoky slate. So that's the colour I'm going to use for the card base itself. And it's going to end up as a 5 by 5 card, 5 inches by 5 inches. So the first thing I'm going to cut is a strip 5 inches wide from my cardstock. And then a 5 by 5 card obviously needs to be 10 centimetres long, 10 inches long. So I'm going to trim that down to 10 inches. So that's our card base there. I'm going to score it at 5 inches to get our middle fold. And to be honest, there is just a normal square 5 by 5 card. Logically, didn't quite score straight, but I don't think that'll matter too much. Okay, so there we are. There we go. I was just watching Kathy. Kathy, I'm glad you're here live. You caught me live. Woo. Yeah, so there we go. So it's a normal 5x5 card. What brings this one to life a wee bit more is the fact that we're going to score from, I'm just going to make sure I'm going to score from the right corner, from the top corner of the front down to the score there. So that's where we're going to score it. I sometimes get my scores mixed up and end up having my card opening the wrong way. So if I look at this one, I open it over. If you open it up like that, you're basically scoring the front of the card from the top corner down to the score line. So the front of the card is this one, and I'm scoring it from the top corner down to the score line. And that gives us our, oh, sugar. I just cut that. Hopefully that won't be too much cut. No, that's okay. I had my, would only ever happen to me when I'm going live, sadly. It's keep your cutting blade out of the way when you're scoring. So there is the basis of our triangle easel. There we go. I'll just pop that aside for a second. Now the contrast colour I'm using underneath between my smoky slate and my designer series paper is Very Vanilla. So what I'm going to do, I'll need two squares of Very Vanilla. I need one that I'm going to cut in the middle for the front, and then one that I'm going to leave intact for inside. And I realise that that's gone a wee bit blurry there. Apologies. There you go. It's back in. Camera has a real struggle these days. I may have to invest in a new one. Okay, so I'm going to cut two squares, and they're going to be 4 3/4 square. Yes, 4 3/4 square. So one for the inside and one for the top or for the front. And the one that's for the front, I'm just going to cut that diagonally into our two triangles. So there we are. Okay, so we'll put those aside. Don't usually cut these live, so this could be an absolute disaster, but hopefully it won't be. Okay, so I'm going to need one piece of the designer series paper, and I'm using this really nice one that has like sort of a little tiny flowers in a smoky slate background. Really nice. So 5, this one's going to have to be 4 3/4 square. So I'm taking it down like 1/4 inch each time. 4 1/2 this one is, yeah. So if we went 4 3/4 for the Very Vanilla and 4 1/2 for the designer series paper. Don't worry too much, I'm confusing myself here as well, but I will actually put the measurements up on my website eventually when I get back from my haircut. Okay, and with this one, as with our top Very Vanilla, I'm going to cut it in half to form our triangles. I think that's all the cutting I have to do, so I'll pop my trimmer away. Okay, so let's bring all those in and we'll discover whether I've made a horrible mess of everything. Okay, so it's only cardstock. I can always redo them. Okay, so I'm going to layer up with our designer series paper on top of our Very Vanilla. I'll grab some glue. Good morning, Maureen and Jan. Good morning. I won't ask Maureen if it's cold where she is, because Maureen's way up north in far north Queensland. So she comes onto our, I'm talking about you here, Maureen, comes onto our Zoom classes, and we're all shivering in multiple layers, and Maureen's in her t-shirt. Makes us all very jealous, and that glue's got something stuck in there. I don't know how I'd cope though. I don't like the born and bred down south. Tend to like the cold a bit. Okay, so that should work now. Yep, here it comes. Okay, so we're gluing our designer series paper, and this is this paper that actually has the beautiful flowers on the back that I actually fussy cut for the original picture, for the original card. So it's a bit of a juggling act as to whether to use it or to cut the flowers out. So there's our first one. Yep. And our second one. And these will go, again, if I've got my measurements right, will go into the two little triangles that we created by scoring our card base. Okay, so one there and one there. Cool, I think I have done my job right. That's good. Okay, so there. So you really couldn't go much, you really sort of need to leave that good 1/4 of an inch between the sizes of your squares in this case, because the geometry of triangles means that the gap around is quite small. So if you go much smaller than, well, in my view, I don't want to say it for everyone, if you go much smaller than a 1/4 of an inch difference, you're not going to get much of a border around the edge. One day I'll sit down and do the maths on it, but not today. Just know that to get that sort of gap between your designer series paper and your cardstock, you need a 1/4 of an inch difference in your squares. Okay, so I'm going to pop this one on the bottom, and I'll bring in the decorations. Here we are. Oh, Maureen's got trackies and long sleeves on. Brr. So what sort of temperature would you call very cool, Maureen? Is it down in the teens or 20s? Let's tell me. It all depends what you get used to. I know that. Okay, so that's our easel pretty much done. So we're just going to do the fun bits with the decoration now. That designer series paper, I think I mentioned already, I hopefully mentioned already, is from the Abigail Rose designer series paper, which obviously is from the Abigail Rose collection that I'm featuring with the stamp set and the dies as well. Okay, so to finish off our little card, I'm going to, as I said previously, this one here, which the colours didn't quite match for me, was fussy cutting that flower from the designer series paper. So this one here, anything that was a full flower, you sort of only get a few off a full sheet, but you get, you know, a few that you could fussy cut, and it was quite a fussy cutting experience. What I'm going to do with this one is I've actually got some very vanilla cardstock, and I have stamped in black and die cut some of the images from the stamp set. So I'll show you what I've done. I've done 2 of this one, which is the big focal bloom, and 1 of this little one here. So I've got 2 of that and 1 of that. So that's what we're going to use instead of the designer series paper. I have one of the cute little lacy rectangles from the contoured scalloped contours die set, which is really, really nice. I like that one. It's really nice. And I'm going to use that as a background to our little flowers. So you actually just place that in the center of your card. So with this fold, when the card is closed, you want it just to look like a normal decorated card. So everything's sort of in the middle, in place, sort of just so it looks really pretty. But then when you open it up, you need to obviously let, you know, the top half of your decorations sort of flow free so that they sort of stick up and give you that wonderful sort of 3D effect. So that's basically what I'm going to do here. So I'm going to pop the little scalloped rectangle on first, and as you can see, I'm only going to put glue on this bottom half here because, as I say, I want that top bit to sort of be free to flip up. So I'll pop that on there. And place that in the middle of our easel card. So again, when I lift it up, it'll show over the top. Just make sure you can see I have actually gone a little bit crazy there, and I've popped a wee bit of glue where it shouldn't be. So I might just bring my wipe in and just get rid of that, just so it doesn't stick where it's not supposed to. Okay, so that's that. And I'm going to bring in my little flowers. So as I say, I've got two of the big one. So I did have them positioned before. I thought I quite liked. Let's see how I go. Like that. And this little one just sort of sneaking its little nose out down there. So that's sort of what I'm going to go for. I think that's okay. So we'll glue that down. Again, I don't want to glue past the edge of my little serrated rectangle. Or go off the, further out than the edges of the card, because then you won't be able to pop it into your envelope. Okay, so that one, probably could put one of those on dimensionals, I suppose, but that's all right. And then I'm going to pop that little one in behind there. And that's the look we get from that. So that doesn't worry me now. I think all those colours go together really well. They sort of match really well. So I'm happy. I'm happy with that. My obsessed little brain is happy with that. So we've got that. So now every easel needs a doorstop or a footstop. So I've got a circle from the stylish shapes die set. So it's a nice little stitched circle. And I'm going to, as I say, I wanted this one to be a wedding card. Unfortunately, the sentiments in the Cottage Rose stamp set aren't particularly wedding-y, so I've swapped over to the Happiness Abounds one, which has a really nice congratulations, which I'll pop on the front, and a wishing you all the happiness you can imagine for the inside. So that's what I'm going to pop on the inside on our little circle-y footstop. So it fits in pretty nicely in the middle. Might take it a wee bit higher because I do want to put a couple of those little die cuts underneath. We've got wishing you all the happiness you can imagine. What I'm going to do is grab from the die set, from the stamp set, we've got these trio of little flowers here. So I'm going to actually grab a scrap of Very Vanilla, and I'm just going to cut those, stamp those in just black ink, because I want to use these to decorate inside. So I'll just stamp those. I think they're really nice in the black against the Very Vanilla. It's lovely. Now you can fussy cut these. There is no single die for this little trio, and I think if you were watching me last time I did anything with this, actually it might have been at launch, so ladies who did launch with me would have seen this little trick, but probably the other ladies haven't. So I'll show you why I'm doing this. It'll make sense shortly. So those three little flowers, I've just cut them out, and you can actually die cut them, and it wouldn't be immediately obvious. There's a big composite die here. It's got all leaves and blooms and everything, and if you position your little cutout behind here, you can actually die cut the 3 little blooms just directly from that. So that's the reason I've cut this cardstock down, just because I don't want to waste a whole lot of cardstock cutting out blank shapes that I won't use. So I'm just going to bring in my baby. Hey baby. Pop that on there. So thankfully it does fit the mini, which is good. Bit of a fiddle getting it positioned. Actually, I might use a piece of tape. I did have a piece of tape here somewhere. Tape, tape, tape. Where'd you go? It's gone. I'll get another one. Get just a wee piece of tape just to stick them so they don't move around. Just pop it on my jumper a few times just to get a bit of the stickiness off it. Now I'll position them in the right spot. Just add my tape, and then I can pop it through. Backwards, flip you around. Okay, so I will get, once I remove the tape, there you go. I've got my 3 little flowers. You do obviously get a bit of waste. The less waste you want, the closer you just make that cut. So if you want to just cut it right down to the bare minimum of those 3 flowers, then you'll waste very little cardstock. But that's okay, it's just little bits. I haven't actually used this die very much yet, only to cut out these little flowers and things. I actually think I'm going to try cutting it out in like coloured cardstock and get the leaves, and then try and assemble this, whatever it is, this bunch of flowers or whatever, and see how it looks. I know it's supposed to fit the designer series paper, but that seems to be a bit limiting. There should be lots of other uses for it that don't involve the designer series paper. So watch this space. If I decide anything worthwhile, I'll let you know. Okay, so I've got 3 little flowers there. 1, 2, 3. I think I'll only use 2 of them. I'll see how they look. So I'll bring back my little foot stop. Pop. Pop these down here. Just like that. I'll bring it closer in a sec so you can see. I'll just glue them on. There we are. So I really like those. They sort of lift it, give it almost a sort of a, I don't know, sort of a really vintage look. Anyway, so that's our footrest. I'll bring in my dimensionals and pop it onto my card. Don't want little dimensionals, no little. It's always you want big dimensionals, and all you can find is little ones. So I've got my big ones here. I'm going to pop some dimension. You could even like double dimension it if you wanted to, just to give it a little bit of extra height. But I think I'll be right with just 1 layer. Then I have a wee bit of an experiment with my card as to how high you want the card to sit. Obviously, if you want it to sit flat, you bring your footrest further down. If you want it to sit really high, you take it further back. I'm going to pop it about there, I think. Yep. Go, and it stops the card from falling forward, as all good footrests do, or footstops do. So there's our card. Oh, haven't done my congratulations. So this is another little sentiment box from the Stylish Shapes. I'm going to again grab that congratulations that we talked about in this stamp set, which is there. It's got some lovely flourishes at the end, and my sentiment box isn't quite long enough to include all those, but it doesn't matter too much. It just sort of looks like it is slightly shorter. And grab my black ink. You'll see what I mean. See these coming off the C and coming off the S. There's some quite long sort of end bits, but I won't get those onto my sentiment box completely, but that's okay. There we go. Congratulations. There you go. So I'm going to bring that into the card. I'm going to close the card down. I'm going to bring the congratulations in. Now, it's a matter of bringing it in, so I don't want to cover over too much, and I also don't want to go off the edge of the end of the card there, but I want it to be able to sort of flip up with the rest of the card and sort of look cute sitting there. So I think that's where I'm going to pop it. As I say, I don't want it to cover over too much, but I still want it to sort of, yeah, down here, I think. I still want it to sort of pop up at the end. So there we go. So just glue on the right hand edge, position it where I like it, make it straight with the rest of the card. And there you are. I could have put that on dimensionals actually. Oh well, it's all good. Okay, so we've got our little congratulations there as well. And it sits up with the rest of the card like that. Okay, wedding card has to have pearls. Well, it doesn't have to, but this one's going to have pearls. So I've got some of our basic pearl basic jewels here. There are some lovely heart-shaped pearls, which I haven't actually got yet in the new catalogue, so they would be absolutely perfect, but I'll just stick with my normal pearls. I'm going to grab my original card and see where I popped them. Okay, so nice big one. I'm actually going to pop one inside because I mean the foot already adds a little bit of volume to the inside anyway, so I don't think it's too much of a hassle to actually pop a little pearl there. So it sort of just looks like it's sitting, excuse me, sitting on the base of the card. So just really cute there. And the other two, I'm going to pop on the outside. So close it down, pop one up here. Actually, I might pop both of them here. I might go for little ones just to fit them in. There we are. Okay, so there's the finished article. Yeah, much happier with the cream, the vanilla on vanilla colour scheme there. It's just really soft, and it yeah, doesn't hurt my sensibilities with the sort of the almost greyness of that original die set, but fussy cut. But it's entirely up to you, whichever you you like. So to let me know, does that greyness of that worry you, or are you like me and sort of prefer all your creams together? Yeah, probably a bit hard to see. Yeah, I think you can see that there. But anyway, so there's my cards. Now all I need is somebody to actually get married. But none of my friends are getting married. They're all a bit past it. Anyway, but there you go. So if you're getting married, this is the card you're going to get. Okay, so there we are. That's my triangle easel card using the Abigail rose. I will actually pop that over the next couple of days, pop the measurements and the product list up on my website. Once I've got my haircut out of the way and all those sorts of things, I can relax again this afternoon. So I hope you like that one. My Funfold class for July closes tomorrow. I probably could make 1 or 2 more kits if anyone's interested. It's not too late, but you would have to RSVP or let me know and pay by tomorrow. So probably need to get to that pretty quickly if you want to do that class. And because my Funfold class finishes, I will introduce my product Blaze class. And this month's product class features the Happiness Abounds bundle, which is the one we've just used those sentiments for. And these are the 3 cards. So you will get the 2 kits to make 2 each of these, and one of them is that wonderful little column card that I created a few weeks ago that everyone said they loved and wanted a kit to do it, so I've included in this month's class. So you will get, for the basic class with just the kits, you get 2 card kits to make 2 each of these 3 cards. You can add the bundle, you can add the stamp set. You will need at least the stamp set to do these cards as shown. But I will actually offer a option where you can buy a packet of the paper and fussy cut the blooms out like this. So you can either do it with the stamp set and the dies, or you can just get the paper and fussy cut. So you could actually cut the comparable coloured blooms to create these other 2 cards. But anyway, I'll pop the details up in my website and hopefully make a better job of explaining it there at some stage over the next day or so. But anyway, that's my product class for June, which will I'll start taking orders for from tomorrow. Okay, great to see everyone. Have a great day, have a great evening wherever you're watching from. Please let me know if there's anything I can do to help, any questions about any of the products that I've used today. And yeah, so take care, keep safe, and I will see you all again probably over the weekend. Okay, bye-bye.